Alrighty, fanboys and fangirls, on today's episode of Technoid, we're going to focus on the Z Fold 4 and the Z Flip 4. We're going to take a look at these new upcoming foldables from Samsung, and let's determine what exactly is Samsung going to do in terms of new features, new hinges, new chipsets, everything. We'll discuss all of that on today's episode, so that's really it for the introduction. All of that on today's episode. Don't touch the dial, turn the quality up to 4K or 1080p, maybe even 1440, because Technoid starts right now. Alrighty, the first story, the main story, really they're both the main story, but just for the sake of this episode, let's call them the Fold series. So the main story for today is the Fold series. Now, as you know, I have talked numerous times about Samsung's foldables, and my opinion over the foldables have changed over the last few years. Where in the beginning it felt like a very gimmicky-ish feature to have a 2-in-1, has now become a more practical device, as we've seen Samsung go all in on the foldables, take their time, effort, and energy to make it a more practical product, and we've seen the end results. And they're doing pretty well right now, as it's reported that Samsung has sold over 11 million units to date on foldables. While that number sounds small in comparison to iPhone sales, 11 million in sales for foldables is actually quite a good number, because most people weren't expecting it to reach the $10 million mark because of the niche market. But because more and more consumers are going in on foldables, it seems like they're getting more confident. So Samsung is going to finally up this with the two biggest foldables in their lineup, which are the only two they have, the Z Flip and the Z Fold 4. So starting with the Z Fold 4, basically what we're expected is Samsung is rumored to drop the Z tag. There was a report talking about it earlier that Samsung was discussing the possibility of removing the Z tagline from the product. They didn't actually do it, but they're reportedly going to drop the Z. I don't know why, but regardless of that, the Z Fold 4 is scheduled to debut, of course, in August with a few minor tweaks, but one major tweak. So the first minor tweak is, of course, the new CPU, the Snapdragon Gen 1 Plus. There's reports saying that it will opt for the powerful version of the chip when it comes out. That's number one. Number two, it will retain the same triple camera layout. The only difference is that it will probably have a slightly bigger sensor in terms of the OIM and optical image stabilization. Anyway, moving past those niches, the biggest change is really the build quality. Now, as you know, that has been one of the biggest sources that Samsung has been targeting in all of their foldables for durability and longevity. And it seems they are going to now ditch a two-piece hinge in favor of a single hinge. Now, according to the previous generations, we've seen Samsung tweak the hinge where both devices were on a hinge, the center piece would be the one that holds it. And that way it can also have some kind of brittles, so that way it'll look nice and flat. Now it seems that it will just be one magical piece, and it will open and close as one. So it will help to eliminate the crease that we see in the middle of these foldables, but it'll also, quote, be lighter and slimmer. Now, does that mean it will have a better dust resistant and water resistant rating? We'll have to wait and find that out when it comes out. But the way I look at it, the Z Fold 4 will basically be what we've always known it to be, the premium foldable of Samsung's lineup, but the main difference is the hinge. And I think that's the area that Samsung keeps focusing on with these foldables. Not necessarily the technology and not necessarily the build quality. It's that hinge, trying to find ways to keep it dust resistant, slimmer, sleek, and make that crease kind of go away, kinda. So I kind of understand what Samsung's doing with the Z Fold 4, but I'm not really too excited, because even though I would love to own a foldable, at the current moment, I don't have no desire for it. So for me, I'm not a foldable guy, but I know there's a ton of people out there that love these foldables. So if you're a fan of the foldables, definitely check into the Z Fold 4, because who knows, maybe a nice redesign for the hinge could make a big difference in practicality on a day-to-day use. Who knows? Alrighty, before we get to the Z Flip 4, I want to take this moment to quickly shout out our partner of the day, which is, of course, once again, Rogue Energy. Rogue has been kind enough to be a part of my channel for a while now, and their continued support is ever growing. So I want to give a huge shout out to Rogue for continuing to supply me with their natural, healthy, alternative energy source, which I have 2 tubs right here. We have blue raspberry and black cherry. Those are my 2 personal recommendations for the month of April. If you guys enjoy Rogue Energy, please check it out in the description box. Click on the link, find your favorite flavor, and use the promo code TECHNOID to save yourself some money. Every time you use my promo code, you're not only bettering yourself with healthy energy, it's all natural and tastes delicious, but you're also helping support the channel. Thank you once again to Rogue Energy. Now let's get to the final story. And last story, the final story, the Z Flip 4. Now the Z Flip 4 is very minor in terms of redesign, because the only big news that we have reportedly going, now again, these are all early reports. This goes for the Fold and now the Flip. So take everything in this video with a grain of salt. But according to several reports, the Z Flip 4 is going to be the one that doesn't get the biggest significant redesign or change. The only change reported is the camera technology, but that's about it. Everything else will remain the same. It'll have the same hinge, it'll have the same clamshell design. The screen on the front, we don't know if that's going to be a little bigger for notifications. Nobody knows that one. But there is one report suggesting that it will adapt that under display technology for it, but we don't have any confirmation on that either, so I'll have to wait to update you guys as the rumors get closer and closer. And lastly, to kind of round off the folds, the Flip is also reported to get a slight price deduction depending on the chipset it goes for, because some reports are saying that it will opt for the Gen 1 chip rather than the Gen 1 Plus, reportedly going to the Fold 4. So these are, again, very early reports, so take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, but just know that for the Flip and the Fold. And that's for today's episode of TECHNOID. Now guys, really hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit the like button. If you disliked the video, you can hit the dislike button. Now I'm circling my videos as well. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all in the next episode. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Take care, stay safe, have a good day, and peace!